I'm downstairs with our young one, keeping him occupied at the same time. So I'm kind of in the background, floating around in the background today.
Okay, great.
And how are you, by the way?
I'm fine. And how did you find the session yesterday? Any feedback you would like to share? Your feedback is really valuable to us.
No, that's okay. It was all good. Yeah, the only bit which you may or may not know about is that from our end, we can't use the chat feature.
Right.
So when you put the link in the chat, we couldn't connect to the chat.
Okay, so today what I'll do is today we'll have a live quiz. Let's see if you can use that. If students can share with you on the WhatsApp, will that work, Professor Simon?
We don't share WhatsApp at our end.
Yeah, you don't show it WhatsApp. So these are few issues that we are facing. Anyways, we'll try to today. We have a lot of activities planned. So let's see how the session goes about.
That's okay. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Very good again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Students, shall we be starting?
Ma'am, we will start exactly at 3:30.
Okay, sure.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission, should we start?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Sustainability is about environment, economy, and equity. Greetings and namaste. It gives me immense delight to welcome you all to the session on marketing for sustainability. We don't have to engage in grand heroic actions to participate in change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. Through the session of Marketing for Sustainability, both the University of Winchester and Amity Business School bring forward their contribution to a sustainable future by educating the youth of the United Kingdom and India about the importance of sustainable business practices. Sustainable marketing is the promotion of environmental and society responsible products, practices, and brand values. It aims to form a strong bond between the brand and the concept of renewable energy in the mind of customers. It can humanize a brand's image and create another reason why customers should prefer a particular brand over its competitor.
Consumers are becoming conscious of how the environmental balance is negatively influenced by hyper-consumerism. Therefore, it is important to plan and enforce ads in a sustainable way, or the brand can leave itself endangered to intense scrutiny. To take us forward, I would like to introduce Dr. Puja Sareen, who is currently working as Professor of Human Resource and Organizational Behavior at Amity Business School. Ma'am has a working experience of 19 years in corporate and academics. She is certified by IICA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, as a master trainer for their certificate programs in corporate social responsibility. Ma'am has 50 plus research papers published in Scopus indexed national and international journals of repute. Now, I would request Dr. Puja Sareen to please take over.
Thank you, Akriti, for such a lovely introduction you've given to me. May God, make me eligible for such lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Once again, very heartiest welcome to all joining from University of Winchester. Namaste. And a heartiest welcome to all my senior colleagues and my students joining from Amity Business School. Now, this session on people, process and technology and how sustainable integration can be brought about is session 2 in the series. Now, in the yesterday's session, I'm sure all of you have learned and understood the concept of the people dimension, the business processes and the technology, and how these three components can be well interwoven and embedded in the system so as to ensure a more sustainable organization system. Now, in today's session, we will take this concept further, and in the next 60 minutes, you shall further develop more understanding on the three dimensions of the PPT framework and how these integrations can be resulting in successful outcomes for organizations. The session so planned is in a very interactive way, and we look forward to making it more engaging by the participation of all the participants here through various activities. Yesterday I had requested for nomination of the student participation for group discussion, and we have received quite positive and encouraging response from the participants, and 4 groups for GD have been formed. And we will also today incorporate a small interesting quiz in this session so as to see how quickly you have grasped the concept of people, process and technology. So now, as I begin the session, may I request Lohit to please switch to the next slide. Thank you so much. I'll start with this beautiful quote, African quote, which says that every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows that it must outrun the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning in Africa, a lion also wakes up. It knows that it must run faster than the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. So it doesn't matter whether you are a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you would all better be running. It is so true in all times, but it is more so true in today's time. In such a hyper-fast and ever-changing world, so true is the need to be continuously abreast of competition. For your survival, you every day, every moment, you have to see how you can beat your competition, how you can stay ahead of the competitive times to survive. With this perspective, there is another perspective also which is so true, so beautifully said by Henry Ford a long time back. If you always do what you've always done, then you will always get what you've always got. So there is a need of effort, but at the same time, there is a need to direct that effort differently to get the different results, to adapt, to evolve, to grow, and to change. These are the various elements which are becoming very, very vital in our personal as well as in our professional lives. So as to survive in the race of life, so as to be productive and have a fulfilling life, we have to continuously move in different patterns. We have to break the chains of revolving in our day-to-day life. Revolving means the same patterns in which we've been working all day in all processes. Next slide, please, Lohit. Thank you. So revolving, as I discussed, it is moving in the same circle of life with the similar activities. So if every day, whether in our individual or in the corporate world, we are involved in the same activities, doing it in the same way, we are revolving. But we need to break these patterns of revolving. Then only we will shift to the patterns of evolving. That means then only you will shift to the patterns of growth, patterns of change, patterns of evolving. And this can happen when you regularly think, rethink what can be done to make our lives better. What can be done to make the business processes more sustainable in the long run? What can be done by the organizations so that the investment in the human resources is such that it becomes a source of the competitive advantage? What can be done in terms of investment in technology that it brings overall benefits for the organization? And how can we integrate these three, people, processes, and technology, into an organization so as to ensure that organization continuously evolves and breaks from the pattern of revolving? Now, yesterday, I'm thankful to the participants. All of you had shown great participation in an activity which was done on Padlet. Professor Simon said that unfortunately they cannot access chat here, so the link was not available to them. But yes, we tried our level best, Professor Simon, to read out what the participants had written. And we will take it further from there now. Based on what inputs the participant had shared yesterday, that how organizations can successfully move ahead in their journey to transform by integrating people, process, and technology in a framework. I will be discussing some steps which organizations can take to bring about a smoother integration of people, process, and technology, and drive the innovations, drive the transformations, drive any sort of change into their organization system. Now let's take an example of the ship. Even in turbulent waters, even in difficult waters, how the ship manages to reach the shore safely. A lot goes behind that, a lot of effort of the captain of the ship and the crew members, a lot of coordination, a lot of teamwork goes in that activity. Now let's see how organizations can transform by doing this smoothly. Can we go to the previous slide, please? Previous slide. Yes, thank you, Louis. Now, the duty and the responsibility of the business leaders and the HR leaders to become a change agent in the entire process of business transformation is critical. In the entire process of integrating people dimension with your processes and technology becomes very, very important. You have to address all the uncertainties that prevail in the organization, and you have to win the employee confidence if transformations have to happen successfully. Next important perspective is to transform the core. That means address all grievances and all those concerns which your stakeholders have in an organization, which relate to smoothly transitioning the change. It's very, very important that you integrate the softwares, the hardwares, the platform, the technology, all combining, choosing environments and products which work in harmony with each other. Transforming from the core is essential, and that is what will lead to a smooth integration and actually successful outcomes for any kind of transformation initiatives of an organization. Moving on to the next important factor. Yes, as you can see on the picture out there on the screen, vision. Everybody in the organization, people across all levels, across all functions, they need to have one vision, one unified vision. All the actions have to be directed in one direction for successful outcome. And this is a very, very important point where organizations have to work. Another very important area is leadership at all levels. People have to be taken together. Business leaders at all levels have to be united in the initiative, and then only transformations will come. Let me take the example of the current pandemic. Only when we all as citizens of a nation, when we all as human beings, accept our responsibility towards this planet, that to avoid the spread of this pandemic, we have to observe certain safety guidelines, we have to maintain social distancing, we have to get vaccinated whenever the right time comes, we have to wear the mask, we have to follow certain health guidelines. Together, the humanity can fight the coronavirus. Similarly, whenever any change, any transformation has to be brought about in the organizations, leadership at all levels has to come together. You need to get everybody's participation. The next important aspect that one needs to look at, yes, it is trust. Trust of everybody in the organization and the trust of all the stakeholders. For any major change, for any major transformation, if we do not have the trust of the people, if we do not have the trust of our stakeholders, mind you, you will not have the commitment to the cause. So trust building is another important aspect that organizations have to work on. Now, moving on to the next important factor, very, very important. How many of you, please raise up your hands, remember the story of Alex that I discussed in yesterday's session? How Alex was trying to lose weight and the business transformation that was happening in his bank. Okay, great Shivangi, great Ishita. Shivangi Manchanda. Anybody would, thank you for showing so much of interest. Anybody would like to tell me which component he missed wherein his bank transformations were not showing result? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Anybody would like to share? What was going wrong in that transformation? Shivangi, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. He was focusing
Yes.
on exercising, but he forgot the contribution of the food he's eating.
That was in his personal life. Very good, Shivangi. Can you tell me, he was also the vice president strategy for his bank. So what was lacking when he met his management consultant friend and he realized? Any idea?
Ma'am, he was focusing on technology and process. He forgot to focus on the people.
Very good, Vanshika. I'm sure you can see the applause sent by me on MS Teams.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vanshika. Great, Vanshika. Great, Shivangi. Absolutely right. What he missed out was he thought that people remain the same in my bank. Let me invest much on technology and let me benchmark my processes. But what he forgot was that the people mindset behavior has to be changed. Plus, it's very important whenever, for example, you are doing a digital transformation, it's very important to skill and to reskill the people. People have to be equipped with the right kind of skills because then only they will be the drivers of this change. Then only they will be your partners in this process. So new skilling and reskilling are important areas to focus. And lastly, I would say just as the ship, with the coordination, with the efforts of the crew, and with the direction of the captain of the ship, fights all the difficulties and reaches the shore safely, it's very important that organizations also take care of these dimensions and reach the shore safely. That is, they integrate people, process, and technology and make their processes sustainable, integrated, and bring about the required business transformations. Moving ahead, I have a small video to show all of you, and this video will give us a summary of the entire discussions we've had so far in session 1 and in today's session. Lohit, can you play the video for us?
Technology.
Yeah.
Each of these have to be considered together in IT. Every one of them plays its own important role. Without technology, we are nothing. And without processing, technology is nothing. And above all, if there are no people who will use technology, then nothing can be done. Ignoring the people aspect of any change initiative means that no one is going to use a new system, and thereby almost all the technology benefits will be lost. Forgetting about processes means the business is no longer associated with new technology, and very quickly cracks will appear throughout the industry. There must be synergy between people, process, and technology. Studies have shown that a large majority of business technology deployment efforts do not achieve their objectives and are not able to sustain themselves over the long term without following the people, process, and technology approach. Let's look at each of these one by one. People. The most important first P, because they are the ones that make the actual difference. The right people lead to effectiveness, honesty, responsibility, and so on. Whereas the wrong people lead to demotivation, lethargic dishonesty, and disconstructiveness. People include each and every one in the industry, starting from entry to exit. Each and every one, such as executives, frontline employees, managers, and IT professionals. Only people can understand business processes, and they can further delegate their roles and responsibilities further to subordinates. Process, the second P of the PPT process. We create process, we deliver process, and sell process. People embed themselves in the business to identify challenges and solutions. People can identify the key performance areas of an industry, so people in advertising play a very important role. People align processes with technology to ensure that all aspects of the business are covered and visually available to all stakeholders. If the process is not understandable, then we won't be able to get an output, and no technology can change the results until the process is clear. People have to understand the importance of processes and methods to simplify the process without losing its meaning and output. Technology. The third part of the PPT is technology. With the help of technology, we evaluate, select, and implement systems. We have to evaluate and improve our technology to meet new objectives and scale our businesses to new heights. Technology has to be updated day by day so as to keep our business updated. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure this was a good video and it summarized the entire learnings that we've had in the session so far. Now it's activity time now. Like I said, I'm grateful and I'm really happy that I have got a very positive and encouraging response from the participants. So now we will have a very interesting discussions ahead. Four groups have been there and which have given their nominations, and I asked them about various areas where they can relate the integration of people, process, and technology in organization. And I'm pleased to share with you that students have taken up the areas like change management, where such integration can be helpful. One of the groups has taken a topic of knowledge management. Yet another group has taken how mergers and acquisition, this concept can be applied. And then one of the group, if I'm correct, has taken the topic of how you can have successful business outcomes. So shall we start with the discussion? Which is the first group which would like to come? Can you please raise your hand? The first group which is ready, Akash Sinha's group. Great, Akash. Thank you for this initiative. Akash, can we request you and your group members to please switch on the camera so that we can see you while you're discussing the entire concept of integration of people, process, and technologies, and how organizations can benefit from this integration?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Akash, who all would be your group members for today for this discussion? Okay.
Ishita Arora, Arushi Agarwal, and Shubhangi Rai.
Okay, welcome all of you, and all the best all of you. Can we set the time to say 5 minutes so that we can give chance to every group?
Definitely, ma'am.
Crisp. And I'll be choosing, which group did the best by taking feedback from Professor Simon, who's there with me, and of course, Professor Karen Cripps. I am sure both of them will agree to be my co-judges for this. Professor Simon, are we together on it? Professor Karen Cripps, are we together on this?
Okay, that'll be my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So we all will be evaluating and we'll be choosing the one best group today. Okay, go ahead. All the best.
So good evening, everyone. Today, I, Akash Sinha, my group is going to talk on how PPT framework is the major component of merger and acquisition. So starting with what I believe is there are many reasons why organizations perform merger and acquisitions. What I think is that most important of which is increasing shareholder value through growth opportunities in new market. I also believe in that successful merger and acquisition requires strong PPT to ensure execution is on track and more importantly, most merger and acquisition business strategies.
I agree with what just Akash said, and also for sustainable integration of the organization, they should maintain a balance between people, processes, and technology. They should first look into the people prospect. So I think they should start by outlining their key resources, skill sets, and readiness of the people in the organization. And if necessary, I think they should build a new set of human resources for the new organization. Having the right team in place mitigates post-merger integration risks.
Adding to what Shubhangi said, as process comes to the next component of this PPT framework, I think two organizations which are merging or acquiring each other, they should enable and use new processes so that they can maximize synergies. And also what I can think is, what I can add is that they should analyze the existing processes also, so that they can evaluate whether they need to keep it, enhance it, or remove it.
And after the human resource is managed, the adoption of right technology is done to understand how the things will work. Having mapped out the scope of the integration from a process point of view, organizations are in good shape to tackle the how.
So according to the discussion, a smooth integration occurs when culture is considered starting from the early integration of planning conversations. Key difference in the company's decision-making styles must be identified early in the process to gain the confidence of all the stakeholders.
And also what I think is that as we understood that people are main component of this PPT framework, the mergers and acquisition should be considered while keeping in mind the people issue. And if these issues are not managed, what I think is the organizations will face a huge amount of disruptions because each person is having unique personality and unique behavioral traits.
Okay, so adding to that, also the integration team must keep recommendations responsible to determine and discuss the specific and well-defined cultural issues that are tied to the business results.
Yes, it is correctly said by Shubhangi. A deep awareness and understanding of the target culture and how the people will think and behave will ultimately align operating and the decision making styles.
So after this discussion, we can say that this is an early conversation around people, process, and technology is pivotal. It gets you are in a prime position to better understand the overall pictures and how to tackle the merger and acquisition with a comprehensive approach from day one. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, group. Any comments from Professor Simon and Professor Karen? Any comments from your end? Any feedback?
I thought that that was a wonderful presentation. Well done, that you seem to have fully assimilated the whole notion of people, process, technology. You're recognising the resources, the different skill sets of organisation. I liked the way that you're recognising both the what and the how. I also picked up on the notion that you said about gaining the confidence of all stakeholders in introducing mergers and acquisitions. So lovely to listen to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Karen. Lovely group and a thumbs up from my end. Great. Professor Simon, over to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say very similar to Karen, really. Very confidently put, eloquent, I can't even say the word this morning, eloquent arguments there. And Yes, quite a well-rounded set of sort of opinions and objectives that are coming together there, which I thought you did really well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And group, already we've got the comments from you. Good work, and keep doing this good work, because for any merger and acquisition, the people dimension, the culture of the organization, how the process integration has to come into place, how the different technological platforms which two merging organizations would be using is very, very important areas where integration is needed. Thank you so much. Which is the next group which would like to do a discussion on this topic? Can you please raise your hand? Okay, very quickly, Arnav has raised his hand. Arnav, over to you. But please ensure that the time is only 5 minutes. What would be the topic of integration of people, process, and technology? With what reference this group would be discussing?
Ma'am, our topic would be strong business results come from aligning people, process, and technology.
Okay, so you're talking about how a business can achieve strong business results. Your time starts now.
Okay, ma'am. So I am Shivangi Chaudhary, and along with my team members Shreyansh Gupta, Arnav Agarwal, and Manveet Arora, we would like to have a healthy discussion on the topic strong business results come from aligning people, process, and technology. In my viewpoint, I believe that in today's era, the business environment is very competitive, and every organization tries to get an edge over the other one. And for that, they try to inculcate new technologies and work processes in order to become the superior organization in the market. But what they forget at this time, as in our session we were taught, was that they forget the human aspect, the employees of the organization. They are inculcating, imparting new technologies, new work processes, but are they improving their human resource? No. They do not focus on the part that how these human resource, their employees have been working. Their knowledge and their human skills are limited. And if they want to impart new technology, they are supposed to prepare the human resource, the human asset. So I would say that it is very essential for any business that if they want to inculcate any technology, any work process, for that they need to hire the right people, or they need to train the current human resource. Imparting knowledge and required skills is very essential. Otherwise, their investment is just gone.
I believe as standalone components, people, process, and technology, the three components are equally necessary for organizational transformation and management. And to achieve a organizational efficiency and transforming to its core, as Pooja ma'am explained us today, it is very essential to maintain good relationship between all the three components.
I agree on this point with Shivangi and Manvi that we should have a balance in all the three aspects. I can give an example like after the pandemic, all the work has been gone to offline to online, in which all the change there was a change in environment which lead to change in the process of working, and the change in technology helped the people to adapt the process, which help them in maintaining the work-life balance.
I'll definitely agree on what my co-partners said, but and also as given the example of dinosaur in yesterday's session, which represented teamwork, and also how by evolving is necessary. So I'll definitely agree on those terms, but I'll disagree on the fact which my friend Shreyansh spoke regarding work from home. Work from home is great, but and it is also the best integration of people, process, and technology. But for me, it is not the best in terms of people. It may be because the exposure and the knowledge we could get by meeting people physically might not be the same online. If I take the example of this virtual exchange program which is happening currently, it is the definitely the best use of it is the best use of integration of process and technology. But if all the participants from University of Winchester, from our Amity Business School, if we could have the opportunity to meet each other physically, things would have been quite different for me.
Yeah, now I agree on this point that it doesn't give an exposure to the people, but by seeing the changes in the environment and the global pandemic which we are seeing right now, If we haven't been adapted to the change in process and technology, this all would have been a loss, and the organization could have not been succeeded.
Please sum up last 30 seconds.
Exactly. I feel it is very important to have a comprehensive approach to technology selection to avoid an expensive implementation.
So I think after this group discussion, we can conclude that technology is nothing without the right people following the right process to support it.
Thank you, group. You effectively brought out the various aspects, like Arnav said, talked about, if the human connect is missing, probably, like Shreyan said, that this was the best possible way, technology and processes could have connected in the pandemic when we were expected to have that social distancing, and we utilized the current resources and moved ahead. But yes, Arnav also has a point to some extent that connect, is missing because we are not seeing each other in a physical mode. But yes, then how you have to adapt to the changing environment, Arnav, that's very, very important. And how you can
Definitely,
integrate
ma'am.
these three components in this super fast changing world is the whole issue all about. Professor Karen and Professor Simon, any views from you, any feedback?
Again, excellent from me. Very thought-provoking topics that you brought up here. Really strongly showing your understanding of needing the human aspect within business. And this is something that I think one or two of our students are online at the moment. We're doing a module on managing change, and it's very much about the emotions of individuals within the business and recognizing our own emotions of others to support and help each other through change processes. So that's very apt. And you brought up the whole notion around work-life balance. And I think it's very interesting what you brought up in terms of working from home and the debates that you very clearly put across there. And it led on to a question I was wondering yesterday from your presentation, Dr. Puja, in terms of in the UK, one of the issues around remote working and a challenge that businesses are looking to overcome is that of presenteeism, that if you're not present in the workplace, how do you show that you're hardworking? How do you show that you're committed in order to gain promotions? And these are some of the challenges, not only the connections that people are losing, but the impacts and what will businesses do going forward? Will they continue a remote working with the efficiencies it brings? Or how will the challenges of connections, presenteeism be worked out? So an interesting space for you all to be in as MBA students at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such wonderful feedback, Professor Karen. Professor Simon, would you like to say something before we move ahead?
I think I'll just add something quite small in terms of the passion of the arguments. Excuse me for pronunciation. Is it Shivangi? If I'm pronouncing
Yeah,
that
it's Shivangi.
even close to me, right? I think you really led the team and inspired the rest of the team to bring out even more passion in the argument. So actually the presentation was very good in this regard. And I think with your, I can feel that kind of natural leadership skills coming out in terms of this. And I think it helps bring the whole group alive as well. So that's the only thing I'll add.
Thank you so much, Professor Simon. I give them a big round of applause from your end also. Thank you so much for your feedback here. Yes, we have Dr. Anupma ma'am. Ma'am, any feedback from your end? Such wonderful discussions going on.
I just joined and now I hope I can be a part of it now.
Yeah, because till now I have been, every now and then I have been getting Professor Karen and Professor Smith to help me out with all the discussions. So as we move forward, can we have the third group coming up for discussion? Anybody else? Any group else who would like to present their part? Shivangi Manchanda. Yes, we have Manveet's group, Shivangi Manchanda. Great. Good to see you all. And what is the topic that you will take up? We're running short of time. We need to keep the focus of time also.
Ma'am, it's aligning people, process, and technology in knowledge management.
Oh, that's knowledge management is one of the areas most of the companies, they are focusing on. Quick, in fact, let me give you 4 minutes, please, because I need to cover the quiz also. Go ahead. All the best.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Namaste to all my fellow members from MIT University and University of Winchester. Me, Shivangi Manchanda, along with my group members Aditya Tiwari, Muhammad Umar Ali, and Simran, will like to have an interesting discussion on topic aligning people, process, and technology in knowledge management. Knowledge management is the process of capturing, distributing, and effectively using knowledge. Knowledge management activities include such things as performing a records of management initiative, implementing and maintaining portals, implementing an enterprise search technology, executing automated workflows, and the list goes on and on. There are people who will argue that knowledge cannot be managed because knowledge is some esoteric, fleeting concept that defies management. However, even if it were true, there are still processes and activities that facilitate its creation and storage and cause it to be shared across people and organization. Now, I like to call Aditya Tiwari to discuss about advantages of knowledge management aligning people, process, and technology together.
So, knowledge management is a systematic approach to capturing and making use of business collective expertise to create value. The potential advantages of effective knowledge management are significant, but as with most processes, there are certain challenges to consider. So here are some points of advantages of knowledge management. Improved organizational agility, quicker problem solving, increased rate of innovation, supported employee growth and development.
Apart from all these advantages, knowledge management has many disadvantages also, including dependency on knowledge contributors, creating confusion among managers and employees, and the mishandling of valuable company information as well. Failure to use company knowledge properly can lead to a great loss of time, resources, and even organizational failure. Knowledge management systems are complex and hard to understand for the average worker, and training workers to use knowledge management system is costly.
Yes, I agree with Aditya, what Aditya said, that a good knowledge management system will make it easy to find and reuse relevant information and resources across your business. This in turn can help you to create better products and services, develop better strategies, improve profitability, reuse existing efficiency and staff productivity, and recognizing market trends early and gain an advantage over your rivals and also the benchmark against your competitors. That's it.
So there are some knowledge management activities as well. So I would like to discuss some of them. First is explicit knowledge. So explicit knowledge has been written down in documents, database, or other places for people to reference and share. Once knowledge is documented, people tend to classify it as information rather than knowledge, and somehow it becomes less important. As it is diminished as documentation, its value is decreased in many people's eye. So having knowledge documented is important as it leads to standardization of processes and activities, improved decision making, reduces time lags, and making connection to people.
Group, the time is over. Thank you very much. You have discussed how by integrating people, process and technology and organization can, achieve knowledge management in the best possible way. Over to you for comments, Professor Simon, Professor Karen, Professor Anupma. If anybody would like to share their viewpoints, their feedback.
What I particularly liked here was the very clear expression around advantages and disadvantages and good examples of what knowledge management is. So very well done again.
Thank you so much. Any feedback, Professor Simon?
Yeah, so I'm kind of building on the same, really. It's another really good presentation, and I'm really glad to see the sort of differing opinions and thoughts coming out from each group. So having your own freedom of expression in terms of how you feel about the subject area, I think really comes across for me.
Okay, thank you so much. We can only take up one more group with a 4 minutes time because we are really running short of time. Any other group which would like to present, or shall we go ahead with the next activity? Okay, we have Kaushal Sirohi. Kaushal, your group members? Karan and Kaushal. Aditi and Manik Jyot. We can't hear from you, Kaushal. If you could just unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Your time starts now, 4 minutes exactly.
Hello, everyone. Myself, Kaushal Sirohi. I am from MBA Marketing and Sales. Today, I am here with my classmate Aditi, Manik Jyot, and Karan to discuss a topic: how change in management bring through a union of people, process, and technology. So I would like to start with a basic concept of PPT process, like people do the work, process makes this efficient, and technology helps to automate the process. So now we are moving into the fourth industrial revolution. So the technology is the main oil to change the world. So keeping aside technology is not possible. So in an organization, people, process, and technology are the main tools to run a business, and a triad of people, process, and technology is the most and the best sustainable solution for the long run of a business. And if we see the example of IT sector in India, so like a triad of PPT in the whole scenario of the world and in management in India also. So like if we see the best solution of IT sector in India, the solution for the management in organizations, it helps technology in particular process. Like in India, we have like people, like work done by the people and for the people in a particular process with the help of technology. Over to you, Karan.
Well, thank you, Kaushal. Very well said. So now I'll be putting some light on key considerations which must be there when we are talking about change. So managing change isn't a really an easy process. There are many factors involved in, such as employee relations, system operations, and especially time management. So yes, integration of people, process, and technology must take place. In the golden triangle of people, process, and technology, first and foremost, a change management depends on the people who involved with the operations. Secondly, making sure the right processes are in place to support any organizational or digital change is important as well. And with employees on board and processes effectively strategized, technology is the final piece of the puzzle that can bring everything together and help keep everything aligned. Now, may I request Aditi Zen to share her points? Thank you.
Adding to what Karan said, business transformations are more than just implementing new systems. Breakthrough business transformations also deliver successful adoption of new capabilities. A comprehensive and integrated approach to transformational change management encompasses people, processes, and technology. I feel that by successfully aligning and integrating these elements in a planned and a capability focused way, organization can effectively manage and deliver change. Over to you, Manik.
Last 30 seconds left for the group.
Thank you so much, Aditi. So I would like to continue from what Aditi said. Change management reduces risks and increases time to value. When people, processes, and technology are all working in sync, organizations can enact their change management strategies successfully. This was all from our side. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, group. Wonderful discussion on how change management can be facilitated by integration of people, process, and technology. Any feedback from my colleagues from Winchester, Professor Simon, Professor Karen, Professor Anupma, if any feedback you have? We will have a quick quiz after this.
Very strong again, wonderful confirmation of this strong understanding around people, process, technology, keeping everything aligned. And what I especially liked here was the discussion around systems and capabilities as part of the change management process. So thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you so much. Professor Simon, would you like to say, which group did the best out of the four? Professor Karen, any inputs on that?
put me on the spot there, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, they were all very good presentations. My tendency is towards the second group.
The Shivangi's group, which talked about business results.
That's for me. I don't know what Karen's thoughts are.
Can we have the second group here with cameras on? Hurry up. Group 2. Professor Simon has chosen you to be the winner for this activity. Group 2. Great work, Group 2. Can we have you quickly?
Thank you, ma'am.
Quickly on the camera, is it possible?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Great work. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Karen. Thank you, Professor Smith, for keeping, and for giving us such valuable feedbacks and motivating the students in their activity. I have already been given a reminder by the team. I'll take quick 5 minutes for the quiz. See to it if all of you can participate. It would be great. Only 5 questions in the quiz. I am just sharing my screen with the code. You have to go to joinmyquiz.com and the code is there. Each question 30 seconds and only 5 questions. Can you see the screen? Vanshika, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's
Yes,
visible.
ma'am, the screen is visible.
Screen is visible. Please start joining. We will take 2 minutes for joining. It is joinmyquiz.com. You can simply go to your mobile browser, or if you are logged in from your desktop, laptop, just type joinmyquiz.com. It will not only ask you for the code. The code is 810283. Just use this code and you can start submitting your answers as soon as I press the start button here. I'll wait for 1 more minute for everybody to join, please. I have 9 participants here. I would want everyone to join quickly so that we start the quiz. "30 seconds more before I start the quiz, then it would be difficult for you to join. Okay, we get going. We start here. All the best to the participants. We can see here on the leaderboard the top performers. "20 players are there. "11 students have already completed. 11 students, 12 have already completed out of 21. So last 1 minute to go. Okay, we end it here. The top performers, Shivangi Chaudhary, Akash is first, second is Sahil, and third is Shivangi. Great. These are the students who got it 100% correct. Too good. 73% accuracy we have already got. I feel the concept has been understood by a good number of participants. Would like to, as we move towards the end of the session, would like to thank you for your participation. Your questions are welcome. We can take very quick questions. 5 minutes are left. Any questions? Anyone has any questions? You may please raise up your hand so that we can complete the session fast. Any questions from the participants? Over to you, Anupma ma'am. It seems students do not have the questions right now. You can send.
Ma'am, I do have a question. I was not able to unmute.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead with the question.
Ma'am, in which all areas can we use this integration of people, process, and technology for our organizational success?
Okay, very good question, Shivangi. But the answer we've already seen, so many group discussions and so many different areas students have taken. Yes, if I say integration of people, process, and technology, it has to be used in each and every area of organization, be it the knowledge management initiatives, be it the mergers, acquisitions, be it the change process in an organization, be it a case of digital transformation in an organization. For all such areas where success is required, where outcome intended is success, it can only happen when integration of the human resources with the business processes and the technological platforms happens in the organization. I hope I have been able to answer your question, yes, Shivangi.
Yes, ma'am.
So any quick question? Any other question?
Yes, ma'am, I've raised my hand.
Yeah, please go ahead, Vanshika.
Ma'am, my question is like in the current times during the COVID, as we have seen, the focus is more on technology and innovation. People are not considerate about, the people and the process that is being carried. So, what are your views about it?
See, many a times, not only in the pandemic, in fact, technology has actually helped us to, carry out our processes, taking people along. But yes, many a times we have so many stories where, success is far away to reach for the organizations because they have not worked on their people dimension. Because ultimately, who's going to work on technology? It is people. Who's going to work on business processes? It is people. So if people are taken in a granted way in organizations, then organizations are only fooling themselves with the kind of investment in their processes and in technology. I'm sure Professor Karen and Professor Smith and Professor Anupma will hold the same view with me that people are the most important asset which any organization has.
Thank you, Dr. Puja.
Thank you.
Our guest from IBM has also joined, so
Yeah.
we will need to finish off this session.
Ma'am, I'm already through with it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. and we take your leave, and all to please join the session on from IBM. Thank you.
And thank you, Professor Simon. Thank you, Professor Karen, and everybody joining from University of Winchester and from Amity University. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Anupma, for such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
My
to
pleasure, ma'am. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Simon, we are now starting the second session